Okay, this is a little wobbly. Hello guys, Man of Plastic here, back again with another video. This time a tutorial on how to lube up your figure joints. Alright, this is my second time recording this because the first time I recorded this, my microphone died and I did not notice in the slightest. So if I were to post that video, there was literally no sound. But regardless, it gives me, I guess, a little more time to actually focus on lubing up the joints instead of ranting. Here we go. So, what you need, in my opinion, a brush. For starters. This one's kind of burnt. A lot of people tend to use a toothpick or a small needle to kind of get in between the grooves. However, I found that the best thing to use is, in fact, a brush. Some of these brushes can get incredibly thin and incredibly small, that it actually makes it a lot easier to get in between joints and crevices on your figures. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the absolute smallest type of brushes you can get are, on AliExpress I've seen them, are brushes that are for painting nails. I think that's what they're listed as. But they're very, very, very thin brushes. And they seem to be a little more rigid. Like sometimes the hairs, if you can see, sometimes the hairs will splice while you're trying to like get in between and they bend. And I think those paintbrushes on AliExpress tend to be a little more suited for lubing up joints to get in between, you know, all the gaps and stuff. I'll see if I can also, I'll find a listing for those on AliExpress too, so I can ignore that. I can't do anything about the cats or all the fighting pets. I can't do anything about that. That's out of my control. Anyways, yes, I'll try to find a listing for that so I can add it into the description so you guys can get those brushes if you'd like. But because, like I said, I think for lubing up your joints, I think a brush is the best thing you can possibly use. That's for the actual tool. Now, what you need is 100% silicone oil. This is treadmill belt lubricant. That's what it's labeled as. But if I'm not mistaken, any sort of 100% silicone oil will be fine. It doesn't matter the consistency. I think some of them have a different consistency. That doesn't really matter. It's just more so as long as it's 100% silicone oil, it will be completely fine. The person that requested this video, Fade God, thank you for requesting it, mentioned that he would use sometimes Vaseline to lube up his figure joints, which doesn't initially seem like a bad idea, right? You know, especially if it's like, if you have it like right there in hand. But, fair warning, Vaseline, since it is petroleum based, yes, it is petroleum based. If I'm not mistaken, can corrode plastic over time, especially certain types of plastic. I haven't tried Vaseline. When I learned that, I got kind of scared, so I choose not to touch it to lube up my figure joints. Or the joints of my fingers, I mean. But, yes, warning, do not use Vaseline. It is, I think it's, if anything, it'll just break down the plastic. So that can be pretty harmful to your figures, you know, just be careful with that, guys. Again, 100% silicone oil is where it's at. This, I found this on Amazon. I think this was the cheapest one I could find because it comes with 2 bottles. So there's another bottle like this, like in my cabinet. And you honestly don't need the biggest bottle ever. This stuff will last you such a long time. I've used it, I used a little bit, maybe like this much, on the entire Trunks figure for Tonson. Trunks wasn't really that tight. He was just more so like he had a couple issues. So I chose to lube him up, and he's like buttery smooth now. This Liquid Black, which the review literally just came out on my channel, does have a bit of a tight bicep. Now, it does seem to be a bit of a tolerance issue, more so than like it being just tight or not lubed up. I think it's more so like sand, like it probably has to be sanded. The joint has to be sanded a little bit. But suffice it to say, that's, I think, probably the only figure I have that has a tight joint. Okay. They can ignore that as much as possible. This video is falling apart. And it's just going to be like, what, 10 minutes? Regardless. Yes, this is the only figure that I have that I think has a tight joint for now. Because all the other ones I have already taken care of and I lubed them up completely. Some of them are actually a little looser than I'd liked for them to be. And actually, that gives me an idea. I can make a tutorial. Actually, yeah. Eventually, I will make a tutorial on how to tighten your figure joints. Because, you know, some figure joints are so very loose. Like these legs, for example. I could actually use what I have currently for these legs to tighten them up a little. So that can also come out at some point. But regardless, we're talking about lubing up joints. So, I have chosen the Goku Black. Like I had shown you, this bicep is fairly tight. Now, it might not work because, like I said, the joint might have to be sanded. But, suffice it to say, it still helps to show you guys exactly how to do it. Now, I'm gonna go at this from like this angle right here. As you can see, there we go. As you can see, I turn the bicep around. And what I'm doing is pulling it just like ever so slightly to make a little bit of space. If you can see that. No, it's not working. There we go. I'm pulling it just so you guys can see, making a little more space in between. Now what you do is make sure your brush is completely flat. Make sure the hairs aren't like sticking out or anything. If I'm not mistaken, this is not toxic. Yes, it's non-toxic. So you can like wet your brush and like use your fingers to like flatten it, and it won't do anything to your skin. So it's completely fine. So what you want to do, get your brush, ever so slightly touch the surface of the lubricant. You see, like right there, like that's too much. Focus. It's not focusing. There we go. That's too much. You really only need a very small amount. Just enough to just not completely cover the brush. Just like the tip of the brush, that's all you need. Like that's better. Yeah, there you go. It's not globbed up. If you put too much, it can actually make it really loose. And you might have the opposite problem. So, here we go. Just kind of bend the bicep a little bit to make more space. As you can see, I'm bending it ever so slightly. There we go. Then we're going to go in right here. Again, make sure your brush is flat. And just kind of rub it here and there. Okay. And I completely forgot to get a napkin. So excuse me while I go do that. I'm currently walking around my house just to get a napkin. And here we go. Okay, napkin acquired. So, there doesn't seem to be too much left over, but as you can see, it kind of got on the bicep there, so all I want to do is just like rub it off. This is not really that hard to take off, but if you put too much, you're going to have to be, you know, rubbing it off constantly. Got some debris on his arm. So, then what we're going to do is just slowly push it around. As you can see, it's moving a lot easier. But it's still squeaking. Yeah, I was correct. This seems to be more of like a tolerance issue. I think the peg is just not... there's probably like excess plastic in the peg. But it did get loose. As you guys saw, it did get loose. Like it's not moving the entire arm around anymore. But yeah, that was pretty much the entire tutorial. A couple of tips. Be very, very delicate. You're not going to break anything. I doubt it. But... what you can do is accidentally maybe, well, depending on what you use, you can scuff like the joints and stuff, or let's say if you use like a needle or a toothpick. But if you use a brush, you should be fine. Tips. Yes, just be very slow with it, as slow as possible, to make sure you don't like just glob it up in one area. Just like go ahead and like maybe like rub it throughout the joint. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. That was the entire video, honestly. But again, thank you, Fade God, for requesting the video. I hope this helped. But yeah, that was it. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, share, anything that helps promote the video. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Again, thank you guys for 100 subscribers. And again, I will see you guys later. Have an awesome day.